Hi, it's Monday, the 20th of July 2020, coming up to the new moon in Cancer tonight at 18:38 in the UK, which is 28 degrees. I'm just going to read that for you now. A tremendous cave on the bank of a river, inwardly knowing where to go, what to do, how to do it, and where it all leads. You have a special faculty for karmic clairvoyance or sensing the individual and collective destiny territory that must be navigated through. Placed strategically in the molten core of world dilemma to remember how to get it right. Driven by a force of will that is overwhelming. You're guided to be in the right place at the right time for catching the drift of the tide we are all swimming toward. Unconsciously and superconsciously in touch and in tune with what is happening, consciously walking a tightrope between the heights and the depths, and never sure while being sure. Given an engraved destiny invitation to participate to the utmost in collective cycles of renewal and to stay within your place of power throughout. For you have gathered considerable awareness towards this time of decision, and this vertical attunement is a welcome ingredient, one vitally needed. So we're working towards that, and at the moment we're at Cancer 25 in the UK, a flock of penguins on an icy beach. Inward purpose draws to itself an invisible community of those who are dedicated to the far places together. Your subtle support system recognises acutely that you are bearing gifts of a high and free kind and attempting to bring those through in just the right way. A guiding stream accompanies your very life pulse and steers you towards staying faithful and not pushing too hard, too fast. A timeless, future-infused sphere, vast and expansive and truly unlimited. Become the personification of this otherness by being inwardly there within it and outwardly silent and poised and cool. There shall be chances, opportunities, ritual occasions for bringing the greater worlds to bear upon the basic shared life stream. And at all other times, preparation and ripening go in order to be perfectly ready when called upon, clear, steady, and super true. That's from the website aquaorfire.net and is a channeled works. Where Cancer is in your chart is key, and in mine it's in the 6th house, so that's traditionally Virgo. It's around health, it's around home and health for me, because that's really what I'm working with. And Cancer traditionally is the 4th house, the bottom of the stairway to heaven. The structure of the stairway to heaven, what we experienced in our family home, has created who we are on one level. What was there in our DNA has created how we have patterns and codes that we come to heal and expand on the good stuff, on the wise stuff, and that's so key to today. So dark moon, of course, is really bringing that awareness. So whatever's going on for you, particularly last night as well, what you were dreaming about. I did a tapping workshop last night, which was, as always, amazing. And I love working with women who are ready to do this healing inner work and evolve and change the world by changing themselves. So at the moment, on the Mayan, we are here. And as you can see, we're on a black square. And we've got lots of black squares going up to Red Serpent. So we've started the blue. So we're in the place of transformation now. Red Serpent is the first 13-day process. That is the blue transformation. So where we began up here with Red Dragon on the 30th of March, we've gone through the red 52-day cycle, we've gone through the white 52-day cycle, and now we're in the blue. So basically we're coming in to the center of the Tzolk'in, which is this column here. We're coming in to the blue. So at the moment we are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6th column, and as we go into the blue, within the blue, we'll be in the central column and the 7th, and we'll be right in the spine. And then as we go through the center, then we'll come out the other side, and as you can see, there are 10 portal days on that one as well of yellow seed. So more about that later, of course, when it comes up. And at the moment we are in the gateway day, and the gateway day, the 9th day of any 13-day process, is the key gateway. And in this particular one, it's a huge gateway day because it's Red Skywalker day. So each 52-day block begins with a red 13-day process, and it's like the opening, it's the awareness, it's the consciousness. If you're a red Mayan sign, then that's what you bring to the table, that's what you bring to the world. You're an awakener. First of all, an awakener for yourself as well, when working on a deeper level. In terms of what we're revisiting now, so of course we're revisiting our whole life. On one level, we're revisiting lots of different cycles now, astrologically, the 1930s, the Renaissance period, in terms of the larger planets, and things that are really shifting now in terms of old cycles coming to an end. So again, we've still got lots of retrograde planets going on, but Mercury has gone direct now in Cancer. And also we have got the 2nd new moon, so this is a blue moon, and so we've got a chance to really get clear about what happened earlier in that first new moon energy. This new moon energy is a challenging one, and it's getting us to look at the opposition points of Saturn in Capricorn. So we've got what's going on around nurturing, mothering, home, creating heaven on earth, which is what today is all about. It's also got us focusing on the structure of the patriarchy, work, discipline, the father principles, which we will be revisiting at the time of Capricorn Sun. And then Saturn will be going back into Aquarius again. So that will really be the end of this old structure for a long time. So back to Red Skywalker. And so if you think about what you were doing, what you were initiating on the, just let me check the dates, I think it's the 21st of May. Yes, the 21st of May. And so if you have a diary, if you have a blog, if you have emails, if you have become a really focused, conscious dreamer and creator, if you have a book of shadows that records these events, Red Skywalker is the most transformative 13-day process of creating heaven on earth, because it is about the human being, the Quetzalcoatl person who wants to heal their personal story and to go beyond it. So the Buddha process, the Christ process, whatever you want to call that, it's the human being who has decided to change their life by changing themselves, by personal development on the one hand, becoming very consciously aware, and then by healing the wounding. That is the key. Healing the amygdala, transforming the emotional mind, and allowing heart and mind to combine and to connect using Mayan terms to the galactic sun, to the center, to the source code that's coming in around releasing codependency, around coming into balance within, masculine and feminine, within, for the person, for the individual. And this happens through healing codependency. This happens through healing all our health situations. And so hell on earth right now for a lot of people, and seeing where we are as a result of our choices, of how conscious we are about who we are and what we do, and what our conditioning is, what our ancestral patterning is, so that we can get really clear and know that we often have very unhealthy habits. People often call this self-sabotage. Yeah, you can call it that. And with a view to its behaviour that makes you do things that are not healthy for yourself, that brings unhealthy ways of being, unhappiness, illness, toxic relationship. And we have been wired for thousands of years to be in toxic relationship, imbalanced relationship, do things that aren't healthy for us in order to fit a cultural pattern and template which is very disempowering and does not allow us to thrive, allows us to survive to a point. And now all of this is changing. So the number of each 52-day starting process is 52 days, and then it reappears in the next segment. And so that's another 9 days. And so we've got 61 days. And when you add those together, that's the number 7. So that's the magical, mystical number. And so the more that you get off the traditional calendar and align with natural cycles and come into a natural way of being and stop using anything to amplify yourself, to change your mood, to avoid reality, Neptunian, to avoid what is, to keep doing the same behavior, to keep staying in the same situation, which you know does not serve you, which limits you, which is not what your heart desires. And all of that combination, this is so key now, is to heed what is happening right now. It's an extremely powerful time. Things are happening to take that powerful time to a new level in the UK. And so there are certain rules and regulations that are coming in. So we've had a bit of a relapse of regulation for a while. And so people have often, it's like children in school, they're like corks being suppressed underwater, and then when they're let out of all these rules and regulations, boom, all that energy comes up. And so we saw sort of a backlash around that in the UK in certain areas, and people going the polar opposite of the rules. And again, on a personal level, that's what we often do in life, where we're being repressed in some way, we're repressing our personality, we have to conform in a way that we don't want to. Just watch a group of young children trying to sit still for half an hour and watch or listen to somebody or something that they really don't want to do. Okay, so remember this is all in us, this little child who is not wanting to conform, is not wanting to comply, and has had to be trained into a way of behaviour that often is not natural or healthy. And so again, you know, it's just having this awareness that we're coming into seeing that now, that most people on the planet are still that child inside and have never healed anything, any resentment or anger or how they were treated as a child that didn't feel loving and respectful to them. And they're still running that code today. We're all still running that code today in some way. Most people with no conscious awareness of it whatsoever, because there's no judgment about that. You know, it just is what it is. We are what we are. We're not schooled in being empowered. We're not schooled in how our body works in a lot of ways, or, you know, how our mind works. And then when we leave regular school, you know, we make choices around further education or not. And some people choose to do personal development. Some people choose to do astrology, for example. Often people don't combine these, though, with healing, and that's so key. So my passion is about sharing emotional freedom technique, how to work with everything that you've got going on, cosmic codes, astrology, the Mayan, where you are in your cycle, for example. And so we're all doing this anyway. You know, we're all taking part in this great cosmic play at the moment. What this gives you is this extra depth of understanding of what motivates you, why it motivates you, what your patterning is, and how to really work with it and how to enhance it. And it often as well, this teaching around healing with emotional freedom technique is the opposite of what people have been taught. So we're focusing on the shadow, which again is the ancient prophecy, the sixth sun now. We're focusing on how this shadow is projecting out onto the planet from each one of us. All of our fear stuff is out there being displayed. And again, you can trace this back as an individual to what you grew up with on every level, school, authority, any authority that was coming in. We're seeing now these huge patterns. A lot of human beings have had huge childhood stories, and not least at school. Many people who are in positions of power have very challenging human being stories as children and as a lineage. So again, it's just understanding what creates human beings, and on a very deep level, and how people with trauma, which is everybody, I offer you absolutely everybody on some level has had trauma, because no mothers go to mother school, hardly any. Does it exist? Love to hear from you if you've got one in your area. Generally, people have to go to parenting classes if something's happened in the family on a traumatic level. They're made to. There's very little proactive learning how to be a parent, and it's just not emphasised in Western society. And traumatic things that have happened over the past few years, generally to society, such as wars, etc., mean that this focus, this emphasis is not there. And it's so important in how it shapes a human being and how it shapes our future society. And that is so key that we now focus on that. We focus on everything that hasn't worked in order to find what does work, and put the focus on helping people to heal so that they can live from an empowered, healed space. And that really is what creating heaven on earth is all about. As each one of us does this process, on every level, mind, body and spirit, clears the amygdala, clears the emotional mind, changes the holographic experience through discipline and behaviour, changing behaviour. It is about behaviour. This is not just an intellectual thought process. It isn't just about people pleasing, and it isn't just a token gesture. This is about genuinely wanting to relate in a respectful and loving way, because we've learned how to do that with ourselves and to stop toxic relationship on every level. So today, it's really key to focus on what sets our heart on fire, what we love, what we're passionate about, what feels empowering, what our dream is. What is your dream? What is your gift? What have you always felt really passionate about since you were a young child? Because that's the key. Whether your mind believes that you can achieve it or not holds the key to set you free. So again, working with limiting beliefs, working with emotional triggers, this will help you understand what's getting in the way of that. And yes, there are lots of bigger picture getting in the way things at the moment around how our society and culture is. So this is not a quick fix, and this is a very, very challenging time, but it does mean that everything's coming to the surface now. Everything is being revealed. That's what apocalypse means, revealing. We're seeing the true structure, and the masks are coming off, even though the masks technically are going on in the UK. So I will be doing a blog about this. I know for a lot of people it's a very challenging time of doing things that they really don't want to do, that they really don't believe in. There's a lot of fear coming up. There's a lot of projection going on, scapegoating, very damaged background behaviour going on, and many situations where people are not evolved, are not grown-ups, mature, whatever you want to call it, and still really inflicting these old patterns, especially around the 1930s. You know what was happening around that time. We're seeing a revisit, and what I offer you is, once you learn about astrology, you know this is what happens. Things come around again, so that we can evolve, not devolve. And so again, this is a time of due diligence, of checking out, having an open mind if you can. And if you can't have an open mind, and if your fear's really coming up, maybe check out ways where you can do something about that. Because do you want to live the rest of your life in fear and, you know, going through more and more hoops of controlling other people? Because what I offer you, what I know is, you can't control other people. You can only control yourself. Look how many thousands of years we've had to keep going through this painful process until we get it. Change yourself, the world changes. Peace begins with me. This is a very proactive process that has to happen for the individual. This is not in any way abstract or around positive thinking, any of that stuff. This is about really getting in touch with our demons, our personal stories, our personal traumas, and learning how to heal them and let them go. And it's not rocket science. Anyone can do this if they really choose to learn and to do the process. And I've been doing it for 13 years. It absolutely works. I work with lots of people, and they've learned how to do it for themselves. And that's the key for each of us, is to mother and father ourselves, to parent ourselves, to learn about what's healthy, to grow up and to really understand that we are living in a Garden of Eden here. Many things have been done so far to make a mess of many spaces, and ego-driven concepts that are coming from some sort of bizarre concept that an individual can know better than the divine, when it's very evident in all the beautiful grand designs here of animals, flowers, human beings, of course. Who amongst us could replicate that? And why would we want to? It's already done. So I hope you have an amazing last few days of the Red Serpent Wavespell, and with all of these amazing human evolution codes now that we can work with. And of course, we're coming to the Mayan New Year as well on the 26th of July. So the mask code in the UK is actually coming on the last day of the Mayan Old Year. So it's all really there to be seen. The new Mayan year is Blue Lunar Storm. And this, of course, is the second day of the White Mirror Wavespell. I am doing a retreat online and also in Glastonbury in person for a very small group of people, which I always do small groups of people anyway, because of the depth that we work at. So no change there for me around rules. If you'd like to know more information about any of this, if you'd like to join the retreat, you still have time. Please do get in touch as soon as possible, because I will need to do all your cosmic code if I haven't worked with you before. So I hope you have an amazing Creating Heaven on Earth day today, and you really start to come into new beginnings, new ways of living heaven on earth. Every day we make small changes, we make small steps, and these create our future. So to be consciously aware and do this with a conscious intention at the time of the new moon in the next few days is extremely powerful and magical. Thank you so much for being in my life, all of you, and allowing me to share this journey with you. Check out more info on my blog, flowwithjo.com. Lots of love. It's an amazing time to be alive.